Hey there, I'm Beverly Sartain, and this is the Holistic Coach Legacy Podcast, where you get support in being an impactful and confident coach. I'm so excited to have Hailey Rowe with us today in this episode. We get lots and lots of questions about marketing when you're a new coach. And so I wanted to bring Hailey onto the podcast so that we could chat about basic marketing for new coaches. And we get into do's and don'ts. We get into Hailey's favorite platforms. We get into a lot of good stuff so that you can learn how to start organically marketing and then know when is a good time to step into getting your marketing done through someone else. I hope you enjoy this. I hope this offers you a lot of good information around basic marketing when you're a new coach. Thanks for being here. Welcome. We've got Hailey Rowe with us here. I'm so excited to have her with us today. I've been wanting to introduce her for a long time to our students and our community. Thanks for being here, Hailey.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here, and I know that you are a legend in the coaching industry, so it's a lot of fun.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been having fun the last couple of months, formulating a partnership and just, something that I always tell people is to look for people that complement your work in some sort of way. And I think that's how we got introduced to one another, is that you really specialize in the marketing piece, and we really specialize more in the coach training piece and the startup piece. Mm-hmm. And so we were looking for people who can fulfill these other needs that our students and our community might have. And so I'm really excited about our continued partnership and the things that we're working on. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got into marketing?
Yeah, for sure. So I started in the coaching industry about 10 years ago, and I had all these certifications. I had my legal guardian sign my paperwork because I was very young. And this was even before college. So, and I started my first business, and I was offering wellness products and coaching, and I loved it. And what frustrated me, though, were two things. One, in the certification programs, you learn a lot, but then you have to learn how to be an entrepreneur if you want to make your coaching business a business, right? And, you can learn the basics, but then you got to market yourself, and you probably need to outsource and all the things. And so I was frustrated with that. And then I also was frustrated that I didn't learn the behavioral change. The certifications that I had were more about, here's what to tell your clients about nutrition. Here's what to tell them about fitness. So I started to expand into more life coaching and business type of things. So I ended up getting my bachelor's in entrepreneurship at school. And after college, I was trying to face a decision. Do I want to, start my own thing, or do I want to get experience? And I decided I wasn't feeling quite ready to just fully go into my own business coaching and marketing services type of business, because I always, I had two passions. I didn't know how it was going to work out yet. I had a passion of health and wellness, and I had a passion about and personal development as a whole. And I had a passion for business and sales and marketing. And I was naturally, I grew up with a realtor mom and a dad who worked in business. And so they were always high achievers and coaching me on all that stuff. So after college, I ended up working for wellness startups, and that combined, I was working for them in business development and marketing. So I moved across the country for what I thought was my dream job at the time. I was working at this startup. I was wearing the startup hats, which is a lot of different hats. And you have to learn very quickly how to write copy, how to market, how to coordinate 10 million people. I was doing HR interviews to hire people to our team. I was just doing the most random things. And it was a great experience, but it was exhausting. And I put my coaching business completely on the back burner during that time because I just couldn't manage all of it. And I always had my side hustle, but I just put it on the back burner. And the company ended up having some delays with some of the wellness machines they were going to have in the place and FDA approval and yada, yada, yada. So the entire team got let go in one day. And that's when I was like, oh crap. And I had to decide. I had just signed a 1-year lease. I had just been told I might be promoted. And so I'm like, all right, well, back to the drawing board. And what I knew ultimately was long-term, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to do business things myself and have my own business. But I didn't feel quite ready. And that was kind of like the shoe that dropped that was like, all right, I'm ready now. Like I had a crash course. And so I started my own business, and it definitely wasn't easy, but was doing business and marketing coaching. And then I expanded into marketing services along with that pretty quickly, because I realized my clients needed that they didn't want to just be coached on it, but they also kind of wanted to get it off their plates. So it was kind of a natural transition. And I have a business partner for my marketing services company. And that's kind of how it all came together.
Cool story. I relate to that story in a sense, because I was working at an online behavioral health platform, and that's where I was coaching and getting my training. And so interestingly enough, they ended up laying off almost everybody. I made the first round of cuts. And then when we got bought out, my department was then laid off. And luckily, I had already started my business. I was about like 7 or 8 months into the business doing it on the side. And that's when I was able to go into it full time. So we both have like layoff stories around
and really,
how our business
I don't
started.
know about you, but like that's one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it showed me that the worst case scenario in what I thought was worst case scenario at my job happened. And so now I was like, okay, well, it happened. So what can be worse than this? So I just went for it, right? Versus I think a lot of people are afraid to make that leap, and it's so hard. I just kind of had the choice made for me, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Yep. So we work with people in the first 2 years of their business, people that have just gotten a coach certification, they're starting their business. And so the marketing piece is always so interesting because they're still figuring out what their offers are. So I'm curious, like what 1 to 3 marketing strategies you would tell somebody to do when they really are new and maybe haven't formulated strong offers yet.
Yes. Okay. So this is one of my favorite questions, because I think there's a lot of fear when it comes to making offers. And one of the things that I'll say is, there's a couple things. The first thing is, I think even though you can coach everybody and you can help everybody, and you guys are trained by Beverly to be able to help pretty much anybody on anything, I think that you should pick a lane to focus on and a specific niche and a specific offer that niche is very thirsty for. So using an analogy, imagine if somebody was in the desert and they've been in the desert for a long time and they're very overheated and dehydrated, and you offer them water. That's a great offer, right? They're probably really willing to pay you for that offer. Versus if you're just saying you sell water and you're at like a park and it's kind of a chillier day and there's not a lot of people there. And like, as you can see, it's not going to be as sellable. So when you're trying to come up with an offer, I think the first thing is to ask, who do you really want to serve and what kind of niche? And make a niche. And I have a free niche training at HaileyRowe.com if anybody wants to check it out. But it's at the top of the homepage. But anyways, you want to pick a niche that's easy to find online, ideally, if you want to make things easier for yourself. If you want it to be hard, then don't take this advice. But easy to find online, they have a problem that they've shared with you in their own words, so you'll probably have to do a little bit of market research. And they can pay for your services and have enough time to pay for your services. So in other words, don't pick a niche that's so exhausted or so in the deep end that they would not even be looking for help or coach or to become more personal development evolved. so we walk through that in the niche training. So that's the first thing, is pick who you want to market to. Next is to get feedback from that audience and make sure that when you're structuring your offer, you're using their words and you're picking something very specific that is bold. So here's where I see a lot of coaches go south. They pick something like become your best inner goddess, or like improve your well-being, or, have less stress. But all of those things are super general. And so if you can say something like, and I know, you might disagree with me on this, Beverly, because it is coaching, it is coaching, and you can really apply it to anything, and you can't guarantee that they're going to apply it or whatnot. But, if you can say something like, I'm just going to use a hook from somebody else. This is not for a coach, but he had a campaign he wrote a book called Hook. I can't remember his name, but he had a campaign about, I'm going to teach you how to grow your following to 1 million people. And I know that wouldn't apply to coaches, but for coaches, you could say something like, lose the last 10 pounds in 90 days and keep it off for a year, or something like guaranteed, or something like that. So you're not necessarily, and obviously you're partnering with somebody and they need to understand that this is a partnership and you can support them and all of that. But being a little bold with your offer is going to be really important, and being specific and not using vague, weak, wishy-washy language. And then the last piece I would say is make sure you're creating a package, or kind of something that is not just single sessions, and allow somebody to complete a full transformation and get ongoing support.
Awesome. Would we be able to get the training into the show notes?
Yeah,
like a link
absolutely.
to the training? Yeah, we'll put it in there, and that way it'll make it easier for people to find, so that they can look at that. What would you say are 1 to 3 things people should avoid when it comes to marketing or starting off with marketing?
Okay, so if you're just starting out, one thing I would avoid is right away getting a full-blown, branded, expensive website. This is something that I see a lot of coaches naturally think is their first step. And I do think you can start. I do think it's nice to start with a landing page, which is something a little different than a full website. It doesn't have 12 different pages. It's not like you need to have a blog and all these things, but it does capture somebody's email to your email list. It looks nice. Maybe they can book a call with you on that page. It tells a little bit more about you, what you offer. So I think I would suggest starting out with a minimum viable product, which is like something like a landing page, rather than a full-blown website. And that's actually something that Beverly and I have partnered on for your coaches, which is helping you create a good start landing page that looks really nice. That's almost like a full website, but doesn't have 12 different pages, and can capture their emails and whatnot. So that's the first thing. Another huge mistake, I think, is just people feel like dabbling. I think it's going to be much more efficient for you when it comes to marketing to pick 1 or 2 platforms or 1 or 2 marketing strategies in the beginning, and really see it through, really commit for 3 to 6 months and give it a fair shot. Optimize it, like take your time with it before you're doing 1,200 different marketing strategies and kind of half doing all of them. So those would be some I'd start with.
Yeah, those are great. I'm really glad that you mentioned that about the website, because I often see that too. And I'm also somebody who shares, like, you don't have to spend a bunch of money on a website when you don't really know what your niche is. You don't really know what your offers are, right? Yeah. And I always share my story of, starting off as an alternative recovery coach, and then people coming to me more about business mentorship, and then people coming to me more about, I want to be trained as a coach. And so I always say, like, in a sense, you're going to think your niche is something, and then you're going to start seeing and hearing what people actually want from you to help you refine and inform what the actual offers are going to be. So it doesn't make sense to spend a lot of money at the beginning on a website when the copy might change, the niche might change, everything might change.
That is what I did wrong too, because I got a full, beautiful, amazing website. And then I heard from my audience what they were struggling with, and I got proof of concept, and I actually started making a lot of sales. And I wish I would have waited till I was making a lot of sales before I did the full website, because then I would have known what is sellable, what is, so totally agree with you there.
Yeah. And I'm also really glad that you talked about how long to give the marketing an opportunity to see if it's actually working. I think people hate to hear that you have to experiment a little bit. You have to test things, but I think it's part of being an entrepreneur and having your own business, especially in the online market. And so just getting used to the fact that you are going to have to experiment with different strategies, and you are going to have to give it a certain amount of time to see if this strategy is in alignment with you, your niche, your people. There's no cookie cutter approach to it. There's so many layers to it. And we have to really find what works for you and the people that you're serving. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Can I add one more?
Of course.
Mistake. Okay.
Yes, so please.
That came up as you were saying that. So the last thing that I think people do is they overcomplicate things. When at the end of the day, if you're a coach, first of all, the coaching business, having a coaching business is like the best gift ever, because there's very low overhead. You're creating transformation. It's just the best. Okay. So congrats to you if you're doing that. And my suggestion is, at the end of the day, I always use Brooke Castillo's formula, which I'm sure it's not really it's very general, but it's number of offers you make minus your no's equal your results. So anytime you're posting on social media 12 times a day and just hoping people come to you for coaching, and you're you just think posting on social media is the answer, I want you to go back to that formula and actually instead focus on, how can I build relationships with people who might need my support, explore with them what they're struggling with, maybe give them a free mini coaching session or something like that, and make them an offer. Connect with people, invite them to explore this opportunity with you, and make a proposal. That's what you should be focused on. And how you do that with marketing can be many different ways. You could do ads, you could do posts on social media, you could do a funnel, all these things. But that, if you ever get overwhelmed, just come back to the formula of number of offers minus no's equal my results. So where in this formula am I struggling? Am I not getting the opportunity to make any offers because I don't know anybody? Am I getting no's because they say that my program is, too expensive, and I got to figure out why they don't see the value? Where in that formula do you need work, and focus on that, versus being I gotta do 12 different things and post
totally
every day and all that stuff.
I love that. Yeah. It's not about doing all the things. It's about sharing your offers and inviting people in, and making those connections with people is so important. I mean, that's essentially what you and I are doing, right? We have formulated a connection and building that partnership too. So what would you say to somebody around how to differentiate themselves through their marketing specifically?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think it comes down to a couple things. One, your niche, that can differentiate you, right? You're not for everybody. Second, your offer. So making sure it's incorporating little things like key struggle that's very specific, or in 90 days, or without having to do XYZ that everybody else is making them do, who's a coach, for example. Little things like that can be worked in to help you stand out. But then the third thing I think that makes you stand out is your story. So if you are somebody who's read Donald Miller's Building a Story Brand, that's a great book to get you help in creating your story. But you want to kind of use your story, your struggles, your background. Nobody has your style. Nobody has your journey. And when you can share that and get people, selling and marketing is not about a product or commodity or coaching itself. It's really about getting, you're offering new life, new beliefs, new, and you're selling an emotional journey to somebody, helping them change their life. So, I'm going to go back to Dan Sullivan's quote about sales. It's getting somebody intellectually and emotionally engaged in a solution that's good for them. And notice that last part, that's good for them because it needs to be both of you guys engaged in this partnership together and, something that they want. So I forgot the original question, but the point I want to make is if you want to stand out, lead with stories and that kind of thing versus here's what my offer includes 12 coaching sessions, that kind of stuff. Features is not as important.
Yeah. I have a lot of people connect with me around my story.
Yeah.
First I have the recovery healing story. I have a lot of people that connect with me with the coach certification because people like the story of going through challenges in life and then coming through that, coming to the other side and now being of service to people. And that having a coach certification can be that way that we're going to be of service to other people. And it's really attainable and doable for people. It's not going back and getting a degree or spending a bunch of money to do it, right? So that's part, I think, of the appeal of my story too, is overcoming hardships and now being of service to other people.
Yeah.
And then, I have that holistic piece too. And people really like that we're looking at the 4 levels and that's how we're serving people. We're not just serving people with information. We're actually serving them with transformation. Right.
Yeah, and
so
your 4 levels, I just want to say that that's another thing. If you guys want to stand out, having your own system or method or pillars or whatever is really a good idea. And that doesn't mean that every client's going to need all 4 pillars or need like tons of work on the exact roadmap you've put together because every client's different. But for me, I have a little phrase that I say, I help my clients grow their business the fast way. And FAST stands for followers, which is basically like building your pipeline of potential clients. A stands for action. So creating content that's compelling enough and an offer that's compelling enough that people want to work with you. Sales is, being able to have a sales call and feel comfortable with discovery calls and have a sales process. T stands for time and transformation. So time management. And then transformation is obviously what's the transformation you provide? Do you have testimonials? And also the personal transformation you have to go on as a business owner. So in a nutshell, but the whole point is that framework resonates with people because, versus me just saying something vague like I'm a marketing coach, I'm a business coach. So I love that you have your 4.
Yeah, it gives
forces.
The mind something tangible.
Yeah.
It structures things for people when usually people are coming to you because they're feeling unclear. They're lacking confidence. They don't know what's next. So I always like to use those frameworks to provide some structure so that the mind can feel at ease and know, okay, this is generally what we're doing. Now I can let myself be present to the process here. So that's really good because I hear it a lot from recovery coaches, I'm sure health coaches as well, where they feel like it's the same information that they're giving people. And so how do I differentiate myself comes up a lot for people because of that. So I love the things that you shared here, like specific niche story framework, that these are the type of things that can help you set yourself apart. Yeah. Right. So what are the benefits to working with someone like you and your team versus working with, let's say, like a really big marketing company?
Yeah. So I have, my conversation I had to decide on in my marketing business is, do we want to be an agency or do we want to just be kind of like very hands-on and take on less clients and that kind of thing? And we decided to do it the second way, not be an agency, because the pros is that it's more like we are committed to your results, and however we get that is as if we are able to be flexible in our approach and what marketing strategies we choose for you and with you. That's more important to us than like being an agency where it's like, this is what we offer. It's only this, you get this, this, and this. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, we don't really care. It's kind of our monthly thing. And I'm not saying all agencies are like that. There's some I work with agencies. I mean, I have no problem with it, but to me, we wanted to have that personal approach. And a lot of the people we work with are clients of mine who I've had as business coaching clients, and then they're ready to take the next step. And so I already know their story and their struggles and all the things. So we're able to be more personal with that. The other thing is we're able to customize things. So whereas you go to an agency and you have to pay a very high amount and they won't work with you on scaling back the offer or enhancements or whatever, we're pretty flexible as far as, you know, if you need to start with just one thing out of our offerings versus everything at once, you know, we're okay to do that. So I think that it's just more personal and customizable compared to an agency.
Yeah. I mean, you being personable and your consistency or things that attracted me to you. Like you're very consistent with your content. I see you consistently providing value to people and really being there for people. And those are the things that attract me because that's how I like to show up too. So it's just nice to hear you own some of those things because I think that those are things that differentiate you. What about why would somebody work with you instead of trying to do it themselves?
Oh, yeah. So there's nothing wrong with trying to do it yourself because you are a resourceful human and the internet is amazing. But I will say that it's just going to be more scattered and take a little longer and be confusing. And you might be saving money, but you're really going to spend a lot of time doing everything. So you need to ask yourself what's more important to you. And we all have to evaluate our resources. So if you want to be hustling and putting in a ton of time in your marketing and coaching and doing all the things and managing a team and then more power to you. You're going to save money. That's great, right? But if your time is more important to you and you really want to be delivering to your clients, then you probably might want to use some of your money to put back into your business. So I think that you just have to evaluate your resources and see what am I willing to, you know, do and not do. And there's no right or wrong answer, but I also think why not, just like your clients would come to you to work with a coach, which is what you're really good at, why not work with somebody who's really good at what you're not good at so you don't have to learn that too and kind of distill your energy and your you know, power that you could be using with your clients because you're so busy doing other things.
Yeah. I think the challenge is often that people don't really know about marketing or understand what it's going to do for them and like the money piece. So if we could just touch on that, I mean, I know it's going to be different for everybody, but what's an average budget that somebody would potentially put towards their marketing when they're in their first couple of years of their business?
Yeah. So I think it totally depends because it depends on the business, it depends on the person, it depends on what they want to outsource versus, and which marketing strategy. Are they picking Facebook ads? Because if we're talking about ads, you have to have both service management and the ads budget. So that's a whole nother ballpark. So I think if I was just going to give you a general range, a lot of companies, it could be anywhere from like $500 a month to, I mean, you could go way down. Like I'd say $5K a month or for like a 90-day package, depending on what you're doing. So I think that it totally varies. But here's the other thing. You can start small. So if you wanted to just start with one virtual assistant, that's how I started. My first thing that I outsourced was just having one virtual assistant, kind of repurpose a couple of my posts and, you know, do some administrative stuff and some stuff with my email marketing CRM system. And that was like, felt doable as like a way to get my feet wet before I went into other things.
Cool. Awesome. All right. A couple more questions. So what would be the top 3 platforms that you would recommend for marketing and how come?
Okay. So again, it will depend on your niche, but if you have an easy to find, maybe type of niche that's a business owner or some kind of, has some kind of career field, I would say LinkedIn is one of my favorite ones. I love LinkedIn. It's way less saturated than some of the other social media platforms. It's direct. It's made for networking. You don't have to be posting there all the time to be successful with LinkedIn. It doesn't require an ads budget to do LinkedIn lead generation. You can target very specifically using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Like, it's one of my favorite ones.
Me
and
too.
One of the most undervalued ones. The second one I would say is probably Instagram, because again, will depend on your niche though. So if your niche is like, very busy doctors and lawyers who are not scrolling Instagram and are very old, right? Then maybe not Instagram. But Instagram's great because it has a very personal component. You could be on Instagram stories, kind of sharing your day, and people just kind of get to see behind the scenes. They get to know, like, and trust you pretty quickly on Instagram. And Instagram just has a lot of ways you can use the discovery page and like-minded accounts and stuff to like learn about your niche, connect with your niche, that kind of thing. And then the last piece, the third one, would probably be, and now I'm going to be honest, I'm not sharing like the most trendy ones right now, like TikTok and Clubhouse, mainly because I'm somebody who's very like principles based, and I'd much rather like follow the same principles on whatever thing I'm doing than hopping like around and just trying to go to the latest trend. And, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it full out. And so I just haven't added those to my repertoire yet. So anyways, the third thing I would say is Facebook, and Facebook specifically, not Facebook page, but having your own Facebook group, because it's very Facebook group. Facebook loves their groups, so they help promote you on the organic search page when you use certain keywords for people who are looking for communities to be a part of. And it's just more engaging, and, you can post questions to learn from your audience and start conversations with them. So Facebook groups is a great thing to be a part of and to have for yourself.
Wonderful. Really helpful information. So let's talk about some of the services that you offer, so that if anybody that's listening and feeling like they want some extra support could reach out to you.
Totally. So I think that one of the things that's most important is my why, which is I really think we can't change the world on our own. And if you have an impact you want to make and you want to get it out to a lot of people, it's going to be really hard if you're manually, like, in one by one, trying to reach out to everybody. So what kind of services we offer? Well, there's two things. There's, if you're more looking for support with getting a strategy in place, getting clear on your offer, some of the mindset stuff that comes up as a business owner, like I'm afraid of sales and I'm afraid of I'm charging too much and all that. That's more of my business coaching and marketing services. Business coaching services. But then if you're more like, I want to outsource, and specifically to give you some examples, things like LinkedIn lead generation, things like having a landing page or a website, things like mainly around lead generation. So it can be on a different platform. It could be on Facebook. It could be Instagram growth. It could be email marketing. Yeah. That's my other company. And we're basically helping you get more people interested in your offer, on calls with you, or to your webinar, however it is you convert your leads to sales. We're trying to drive traffic to that thing. So those are some of the services. If I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it's really good, because we always get people that are looking for help with getting a website. The next thing for a lot of our people is really building their email list, and creating and starting to build it. And then, of course, people are always wanting the lead generation or creating clients. So, I think the things that you're sharing with people are really in alignment with what our people need. So how can people reach out to you?
Yes. So the free niche marketing trainings at HaileyRowe.com. It's Hailey Rowe, ROWE.com. And then you can get in touch with me simply, if you want. You can just send me a DM on Instagram. I'm Hailey, again, _Rowe. So Hailey _Rowe, ROWE. And then I have a free call opportunity where we would go through your strategy, where you want to go, see if there's anything we can do to help you grow your business. And if they mention holistic in my call booking form, which you can find my call application on my website, or you can just DM me and say, I want to book a call. And I'll send you the calendar link. But just put holistic in that section, and we have a special deal for your audience, because we understand you guys are starting out and want to make sure that it's doable for you to, get moving in your business.
That's right. Thank you so much for being here. I love talking about all this stuff with you, and we'll definitely put all of your information in the show notes for people that like to see it and spend some time with it. It will be located there. And I just want to encourage you, if you're listening and you're needing support with your marketing, to definitely reach out to Hailey and her team and see how they might be able to support you. Is there any last words of wisdom that you want to share with us, Hailey?
No, but the only thing I would say that I forgot to mention is the book. I wanted to mention this when I was talking about offers. The Prosperous Coach is a really great book, and it simplifies marketing to just being like, it's conversations.
Right.
Conversations, which is what we have to do. But so I don't, he's actually really against marketing in general. He's like, just
who, Steve Chandler or Rich Litvin?
Rich, whatever his name is.
Litvin, yeah.
But so I don't agree with everything, but we help you get those conversations. So if you're struggling with that, that's where I'm here for. But that's a great book. It
is a great book. I love that book. That book really showed me kind of what you were talking about with that formula, where it's kind of like, how many offers did you make this week? And when you realize the answer is 0, then you know you have a problem, because you need to be making offers to people and not just putting 0 down on your page. So so we want people to connect with you, and that way they can get more discovery calls, more consultation calls, and be able to make those offers. And it was just real fun to talk to you about all this today. I always enjoy being with you. So thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thanks.
If there's only one thing you take away today, I hope it's been some sort of simplification of the marketing process, and that when you're starting off new, you want to start off really basic first, website, email list, and then moving on to lead generation. And if you're needing support with this, it is my hope that you'll reach out to Hailey and see if there is further alignment there for you and working with her. We really appreciate you being here. Thank you for listening and being on this journey with us. Always remembering that this is truly a path, not a destination. And stepping into coaching, stepping into your own business, it is a path, and there is an unfolding that happens. And so be where you are, keep learning, keep growing, keep stretching yourself, and we are here to support you in doing so. Much love to you.